Sarah Martinez walked slowly through the parking lot outside the big grocery store. Each step hurt her left ankle. She had fallen down the stairs that morning when she was carrying her baby. The pain shot up her leg every time she put weight. On it, behind her walked her 3 children. Emma was 8 years old. She held the hand of her little brother Carlos, who was 6. Sarah carried baby Sophia in her arms. The baby was only 10 months old and getting heavy. All 4 of them looked tired. Their clothes were dirty and wrinkled. They had been sleeping in their old car for 2 weeks now. Sarah had lost her job at the restaurant 3 months ago. The bills kept coming, but the money stopped. First, they lost their apartment. Then they had to sell most of their things. Sarah stopped walking and leaned against a light pole. She needed to rest her ankle. She looked at her children and felt her heart break. Emma's shoes had holes in them. Carlos was too thin. His pants were too big for him now. Baby Sophia needed diapers, but Sarah did not have money for them. Sarah reached into her pocket and pulled out some crumpled dollar bills. She counted them slowly. $7.38. That was all the money she had left in the world. She looked at the grocery store in front of her. $7 would not buy much food. Maybe some bread and milk? Maybe some crackers for the children. Emma looked up at her mother. The little girl's eyes were sad. She had not smiled in many days. "Mama, are we going to eat today?" Emma asked. Quietly, Sarah's throat felt tight. She wanted to cry, but she had to be strong for her children. "Yes, baby. We will find something to eat," she said. Carlos tugged on Sarah's shirt. "Mama, my tummy hurts," he said. Sarah knew he was hungry. They had not eaten since yesterday morning. A kind woman at the park had given them some sandwiches, but that food was gone now. Baby Sophia started to cry. She was hungry too. Sarah tried to rock her gently, but the baby kept crying. Other people in the parking lot looked at them. Some people stared. Some people looked away quickly and walked faster to their cars. Sarah felt embarrassed. She did not want people to stare at her family. She did not want them to know that she could not take care of her children. Before she lost her job, Sarah had been proud. She worked hard. She paid her bills. She took good care of her family. Now everything was different. Now she felt like a failure. She felt ashamed that her children were hungry and dirty. She felt scared because she did not know what to do next. Sarah started walking toward the store again. Her ankle hurt more with each step, but she had to try to buy some food. Emma and Carlos walked beside her. They moved slowly because they were weak from not eating enough. As they got closer to the store, Sarah saw other families walking out with shopping carts full of food. She saw mothers buying toys for their children. She saw fathers carrying bags of groceries to nice cars. Sarah remembered when she used to do those things too. Sarah stopped at the front of the store. She looked down at her $7 again. She tried to think of what to buy. Bread was cheap. Peanut butter would give the children protein. Maybe some bananas if they were on sale, but then she remembered that they had no place to prepare food. They had no kitchen, no refrigerator. They were living in their car. They could only buy things that did not need to be cooked or kept cold. Emma saw her mother thinking, "Mama, what's wrong?" The little girl asked. Sarah knelt down to Emma's level. It hurt her ankle to bend, but she wanted to look into her daughter's eyes. "Nothing is wrong, sweetheart. Mama is just thinking about what to buy." But Emma was smart. She could see that her mother was worried. She could see that her mother was scared. Emma had heard her mother crying at night when she thought the children were sleeping. Carlos started to wander away from his mother and sister. He saw a candy machine near the store entrance. The bright colors caught his attention. He pressed his face against the glass and looked at all the candy inside. "Carlos, come back here," Sarah called. She tried to stand up quickly, but her ankle gave out. She almost fell down. She had to grab onto a shopping cart to keep her balance. Baby Sophia was crying louder now. Other people walking by were starting to stare more. Sarah felt her face get hot with embarrassment. She wanted to disappear. She wanted to take her children somewhere safe and quiet. A woman walked past them and shook her head. Sarah heard her say to the man with her, "Those people should not have children if they cannot take care of them." The words hit Sarah like a punch in the stomach. She loved her children more than anything in the world. She was trying her best to take care of them. It was not her fault that she lost her job. It was not her fault that everything went wrong so fast. Sarah felt tears starting to come to her eyes. She blinked hard to stop them. She could not cry in front of her children. She had to be strong. Emma came over and hugged her mother's leg. "It's okay, Mama," the little girl said. "We will be okay." Sarah looked down at her brave daughter. Emma was trying to make her mother feel better. An 8-year-old child was trying to comfort her mother. Sarah felt even worse. Sarah picked up baby Sophia and tried to balance on her hurt ankle. She called Carlos back to her side. "Come on, children. Let's go buy some food." They started walking toward the store entrance. Sarah moved slowly because of her ankle. The children stayed close to her. They could see that their mother was in pain. As they reached the door, Sarah looked up at the bright lights inside the store. She took a deep breath. She had to do this. Her children needed food. She would figure out the rest later, but as she took her first step toward the door, Sarah felt dizzy. She had not eaten much either. The pain in her ankle was getting worse. She stopped and leaned against the wall next to the entrance. That was when she heard footsteps coming toward them. Someone was walking in their direction. Sarah looked up to see who it was. A tall man in work clothes was walking toward Sarah and her children. He had gray hair and kind eyes. His clothes were dusty from working construction all day. His name was Michael Thompson, and he was 45 years old. Michael had been shopping for groceries after work. He bought the same things every week: frozen dinners for one person, coffee, bread, simple food for a man who lived alone. He was walking to his truck when he saw the family by the store entrance. At first, Michael just noticed that the woman seemed to be having trouble walking. He saw her lean against the wall. He saw the children standing close to her. Something about the scene made him stop and look more carefully. Michael had good eyes for details. That is what made him good at his construction job. He could see things that other people missed. Now he saw that the woman's clothes were wrinkled like she had slept in them. He saw that the children looked too thin. He saw that they all looked very tired. The baby in the woman's arms was crying. The mother was trying to calm the baby, but she looked like she might fall down. Her face was pale and she was breathing hard. Michael set down his grocery bags and walked over to them. He moved slowly so he would not scare them. He had learned to be gentle with people who seemed afraid or hurt. "Excuse me, ma'am," Michael said in a quiet voice. "Are you all right? Do you need some help?" Sarah looked up at the stranger. She saw a big man with rough hands and work boots. She felt afraid at first. She had learned to be careful around strangers. But when she looked at his face, she saw that his eyes were kind. He did not look angry or mean. "I'm fine," Sarah said quickly. "Thank you, but we're fine." But Michael could see that she was not fine. He could see pain in her face when she tried to stand up straight. He could see that she was favoring one ankle. He could see that the children were staying very close to their mother, like they were scared. "You sure about that?" Michael asked. "Looks like you hurt your ankle there." Sarah looked down at her swollen ankle. She had tried to hide the pain, but this man had noticed anyway. "I fell this morning," she said. "It's not too bad." Michael nodded. He looked at the children. The little girl was holding her brother's hand tightly. The boy was looking at Michael with big, curious eyes. The baby was still crying softly. "These your kids?" Michael asked. "Yes," Sarah said. She pulled her children closer to her. "Emma, Carlos, and Sophia," Michael smiled at the children. "Hello there," he said to Emma and Carlos. "Those are nice names." Emma did not smile back. She was shy around strangers. Carlos peeked out from behind his sister but did not say anything. Michael looked back at Sarah. He had been around long enough to recognize people who were in trouble. He had been in trouble himself when he was younger. He knew what it looked like when someone was trying hard to act like everything was okay when it was not. "Ma'am, I don't mean to be nosy," Michael said, "but it looks like you folks might be Having a hard time. Is there anything I can do to help? Sarah felt her face get hot. She did not want this stranger to know how bad things were. She did not want him to know that they were homeless. She did not want him to know that she only had $7. We're fine, Sarah said again. Really, we just came to buy some groceries. Michael looked at the way she was holding her $7. He saw how she kept counting the money. He saw how the children were looking at the store with hungry eyes. Well, Michael said slowly, I was just thinking. I'm buying groceries too, but I always buy too much food. I end up throwing a lot of it away because I live by myself. Maybe you folks could help me out by taking some groceries off my hands? Sarah stared at him. She did not understand what he was saying. What do you mean? I mean, let me buy your groceries today, Michael said. Consider it a favor to me. I hate to see good food go to waste. Sarah shook her head quickly. No, I can't let you do that. I don't even know you. My name is Michael Thompson, he said. I work construction. I live about 10 minutes from here. I've lived in this town for 20 years. Now you know me a little bit. Emma looked up at her mother. She could hear the man offering to help them. She was 8 years old, but she understood that they needed help. She tugged on her mother's shirt. Mama, Emma whispered. Maybe we should let the nice man help us. Sarah looked down at her daughter. Emma's face was thin and pale. Sarah could see how much her daughter wanted to say yes to this stranger's offer. Michael heard what Emma said. He knelt down so he was at the same level as the children. What do you think, Emma? What kind of food do you like? Emma looked at her mother, asking for permission to talk to the man. Sarah nodded slowly. I like peanut butter sandwiches, Emma said quietly, and Carlos likes mac and cheese. Those are good choices, Michael said. What about fruits? Do you like apples? Bananas? Carlos stepped out from behind his sister. I like bananas, he said. Michael smiled. Bananas are one of my favorites too. Sarah watched this man talking gently to her children. She could see that he was not trying to scare them. He was not asking them personal questions. He was just being kind, but Sarah had learned to be careful. She had learned that when things seemed too good to be true, they usually were. Why would you want to help us? She asked. You don't know anything about us. Michael stood up and looked at Sarah directly. Ma'am, I can see that you're a good mother trying to take care of your kids. Sometimes good people need help. That's all. But what do you want in return? Sarah asked. Nothing, Michael said. I don't want anything in return. Sarah found that hard to believe. In her experience, people always wanted something. People did not just give things away for free. Especially not to strangers. Michael could see that Sarah did not trust him. He understood why. She was protecting her children. She was being smart to be careful. Look, Michael said. How about this? Let me just buy you folks some lunch. There's a diner down the street. Good food, clean place. After that, if you want help with groceries, okay. If not, no problem. But those kids look hungry, and you look like you could use a hot meal. Sarah's stomach growled loudly at the mention of food. She was hungrier than she wanted to admit. The children were hungry too. Emma and Carlos were looking at her with hopeful eyes. Baby Sophia started crying harder. Sarah tried to bounce her gently, but the baby would not stop. Sophia was hungry and tired and uncomfortable. Ma'am, Michael said gently, that baby needs to eat. Those kids need to eat. You need to eat. Let me help you. Sarah felt tears starting to come to her eyes again. She was so tired of being strong all the time. She was so tired of pretending that everything was okay when it was not. I can't pay you back, Sarah said quietly. I'm not asking you to pay me back, Michael said. Sarah looked at her children again. Emma was holding Carlos's hand. Both children were looking at her with trust in their eyes. They believed that their mother would take care of them. They believed that their mother would make the right choice. Sarah made her decision. Okay, she said. Okay, thank you, Michael smiled. Good, my truck is right over there. Let me help you walk to it. He offered Sarah his arm to lean on. At first she hesitated, then she accepted his help. Her ankle was hurting too much to be proud. Come on, kids, Michael said to Emma and Carlos. Let's go get some food. For the first time in days, Emma smiled a little bit. Carlos clapped his hands quietly. Even baby Sophia stopped crying for a moment. Michael helped Sarah walk slowly to his truck. The children followed close behind. As they walked, Sarah wondered if she was making a mistake, but she was too tired and too hungry to care. Her children needed food, and this stranger was offering to help. She just hoped that he really was as kind as he seemed. Michael's truck was old but clean. It was a blue pickup truck with tools in the back. He opened the passenger door for Sarah and helped her climb in with baby Sophia. Then he helped Emma and Carlos climb into the back seat. Everyone buckled up? Michael asked. He waited until all the seat belts were fastened before he started driving. The diner was only 5 minutes away. It was called Mel's Diner, and it had been in the town for 30 years. Michael ate there, sometimes when he did not want to cook for himself. The food was good and the people were friendly. When they got to the diner, Michael parked close to the door so Sarah would not have to walk far on her hurt ankle. He came around to help her out of the truck. "I can walk," Sarah said, but when she put weight on her ankle, she almost fell. Michael caught her arm and helped her balance. "Easy there," he said. "No hurry. Take your time." Emma and Carlos climbed out of the truck and looked up at the diner. It had bright lights and big windows. They could see people inside eating and talking. It looked warm and friendly. "Have you kids ever been to a diner before?" Michael asked. Emma shook her head. "We used to go to restaurants sometimes," she said, "but not for a long time." "Well, you're going to like this place," Michael said. "They have the best pancakes in town." Carlos's eyes got wide. "Pancakes?" he said. "Really?" "Really," Michael said. "Do you like pancakes?" "I love pancakes," Carlos said. It was the first time he had sounded excited about anything in weeks. They walked slowly into the diner. A nice lady in a uniform came over to them. Her name tag said Betty. She had gray hair and a kind smile. "Hi there, Michael," Betty said. "Your usual table?" "Hi, Betty," Michael said. "Actually, could we have a booth? I've got some friends with me today." Betty looked at Sarah and the children. She could see that they looked tired and hungry. Betty had worked at the diner for 15 years. She had seen all kinds of people. She knew how to be kind without asking questions. "Of course," Betty said. "Right this way?" She led them to a big booth in the corner. Sarah slid in first, still holding baby Sophia. Emma and Carlos sat next to their mother. Michael sat across from them. Betty brought them menus and glasses of water. The children drank their water quickly. They had been thirsty as well as hungry. "Take your time looking at the menu," Betty said. "I'll be back in a few minutes." Sarah opened the menu and looked at all the food choices. Everything looked good. Everything looked expensive. She felt nervous about letting this stranger buy food for her family. "Order whatever you want," Michael said. "This is my treat." Emma was looking at the pictures of food in the menu. "Mama, look," she said. "They have chocolate chip pancakes." Carlos leaned over to see. "And bacon," he said. "Look, Mama, they have bacon." Sarah smiled a little. Her children had not been excited about anything in a long time. It made her happy to see them interested in food again. Michael was watching the family look at the menu. He could see how the children's faces lit up when they saw the pictures of food. He could see how Sarah was trying to figure out what was the cheapest thing to order. "You know what?" Michael said. "I'm really hungry. I think I'm going to order the big breakfast platter. Eggs, bacon, sausage, hash browns, and pancakes. That's a lot of food. Maybe you folks could help me eat some of it." Sarah looked at him. She was starting to understand that this man was trying to make it easier for her to accept his help. He was trying to make it seem like they were helping him instead of the other way around. "That does sound like a lot of food," Sarah said. "Way too much for one person," Michael agreed. "Emma, Carlos, what do you think? Could you help me eat some pancakes?" "Yes," Carlos said immediately. Emma was more shy, but she nodded too. Betty came back to take their order. Michael ordered the big breakfast platter, plus extra pancakes, plus milk for the children and coffee for Sarah. And could you bring some crackers? For the baby? Michael asked. And maybe some applesauce? Of course, Betty said. She smiled at baby Sophia, who was looking around with big eyes. While they waited for the food, Michael started talking to the children. He asked Emma about school. He asked Carlos about his favorite games. He did not ask them any personal questions about where they lived or why they looked so tired. Sarah listened to her children talk to this kind stranger. Emma was starting to smile more. Carlos was laughing at Michael's jokes. Even baby Sophia seemed calmer. What kind of work do you do? Sarah asked Michael. Construction, Michael said. I build houses and fix buildings. I've been doing it for 20 years. Do you like it? Emma asked. I do, Michael said. I like making things. I like fixing things that are broken. It makes me feel good to help build places where families can live. Sarah thought about that. This man spent his days building homes for families. Now he was helping a homeless family. Maybe that was just the kind of person he was. The food came, and it was more than Sarah had seen in months. The big platter had eggs and bacon and sausage and hash browns. There was a tall stack of pancakes with butter and syrup. There was fresh fruit and toast. Michael started putting food on plates for everyone. He gave Emma and Carlos each a big pancake with syrup. He gave Sarah eggs and bacon and hash browns. He cut up some banana and gave it to baby Sophia. This is too much, Sarah said. We can't eat all this. Just eat what you can, Michael said. The rest we can take home. Sarah realized that Michael had said home like the children had a home to go to. She did not correct him. She did not want to tell him that they were sleeping in their car. The children started eating right away. Carlos took a big bite of pancake and syrup ran down his chin. Emma ate more slowly, but Sarah could see how much she was enjoying the food. Baby Sophia sucked on pieces of banana and clapped her hands. She was happy to have something to eat. Sarah took a bite of eggs. They were perfect. Warm and fluffy and delicious. She had forgotten how good real food could taste. She had to stop herself from eating too fast. Michael watched the family eat. He could see how hungry they had been. He could see how much this meal meant to them. It made him feel good to help, but it also made him sad to think about how long it had been since these children had eaten well. This is really good, Emma said. The best pancakes ever, Carlos agreed. I'm glad you like it, Michael said. Betty is a good cook. They ate in comfortable silence for a while. Sarah felt some of her strength coming back as she ate. The children looked happier than they had in weeks. When they were full, there was still a lot of food left over. Betty brought them containers to take the extra food with them. For later, she said with a wink. Michael paid the bill and left a big tip for Betty. Then he helped Sarah and the children back to his truck. Thank you, Sarah said as they drove back toward the grocery store. That was the best meal we've had in a long time. You're welcome, Michael said. Now, how about we get some groceries? I meant what I said about buying too much food. You'd be doing me a favor by taking some of it. Sarah looked at him. She was starting to believe that this man really did want to help them without wanting anything back. It was hard to believe, but everything he had done so far proved it. Okay, she said. But just a few things. Nothing expensive, Michael smiled. We'll see about that. When they got back to the grocery store, Michael got a shopping cart. He helped Sarah walk into the store, and the children stayed close beside them. What do you folks need? Michael asked Sarah. Thought about their situation? They needed everything. But she did not want to take advantage of this man's kindness. Some bread, she said. Maybe some peanut butter. Some milk for the children. Michael nodded and put those things in the cart. Then he added some more things. Cereal for breakfast, fruit for snacks, crackers and cheese. Soup that the children could eat cold if they needed to. This is too much, Sarah said again. It's really not, Michael said. Like I told you, I hate to see food go to waste. They walked through the store together. Michael kept adding things to the cart. Diapers for baby Sophia, a toy for Carlos, hair clips for Emma, small things, but things that would make their lives a little easier. At the checkout, the total was over $100. Sarah felt overwhelmed. She had never had a stranger spend so much money on her family. Michael paid without complaining. He helped carry the bags to his truck and loaded them in the back. "Where would you like me to take you?" he asked. Sarah hesitated. She did not want to tell him that they had nowhere to go. She did not want him to know that they would be sleeping in their car tonight. "You can just drop us off at the park," she said. "We'll be fine from there." Michael looked at her carefully. He was starting to understand that this family did not have a home to go to. The pieces were coming together in his mind, the dirty clothes, the hungry children, the way Sarah avoided talking about where they lived. "Ma'am," he said gently, "where are you folks staying tonight?" Sarah felt her face turn red. She looked down at her hands and did not answer Michael's question. She did not want to tell him the truth. She did not want him to know that they had been sleeping in their car. Emma looked at her mother. The little girl could see that her mother was upset. "Mama?" Emma said quietly. Michael saw that Sarah was embarrassed. He understood that this was a hard question for her to answer. He had suspected that they might be homeless, but now he was sure. "It's okay," Michael said gently. "You don't have to tell me if you don't want to." But Sarah was tired of lying. She was tired of pretending. This man had been so kind to them. Maybe he deserved to know the truth. "We don't have anywhere to stay," Sarah said quietly. "We've been sleeping in our car for 2 weeks." Michael felt his heart break a little. He looked at the children in the back seat. Emma and Carlos were so young. Baby Sophia was just a baby. No child should have to sleep in a car. "What happened?" Michael asked. "If you don't mind me asking," Sarah took a deep breath. "I lost my job 3 months ago. The restaurant where I worked closed down. I couldn't find another job fast enough. We got behind on rent. The landlord kicked us out." Michael listened without judging. He had been in tough situations before. He knew how fast things could go wrong for people. "What about family?" he asked. "Anyone who could help?" Sarah shook her head. "My parents died when I was young. Sophia's father left when she was born. I don't have anyone else." Michael was quiet for a moment. He was thinking about something. He was thinking about his empty house and his extra bedrooms. He was thinking about these children who needed a safe place to sleep. "I have an idea," Michael said. "But I want you to think about it before you answer." Sarah looked at him. "What kind of idea?" "I have a house with extra bedrooms," Michael said. "Bedrooms that nobody uses. You and your children could stay there until you get back on your feet." Sarah stared at him. She could not believe what he was saying. "You want us to stay in your house? With you?" "Just until you find a job and save some money," Michael said. "However long that takes." Sarah shook her head quickly. No, I can't do that. I can't let strangers stay in your house. You don't even know us." "I know enough," Michael said. "I know you're a good mother who is trying to take care of her children. I know you need help. I know I have the space to help you." Emma leaned forward from the back seat. "Mama, what's he saying?" "The nice man is offering to let us stay at his house," Sarah explained. Emma's eyes got wide. "In a real house? With real beds?" "Yes," Michael said. "With real beds and a real kitchen and a real bathroom." Carlos got excited too. "Can we, Mama? Can we stay in the nice man's house?" Sarah felt overwhelmed. This was too much kindness from one person. People did not just invite homeless families to live in their houses. There had to be a catch. There had to be something he wanted. "What do you want in return?" Sarah asked. "Nothing," Michael said. "Maybe you could cook dinner sometimes if you want to." "But that's not required. I just want to help." "But why?" Sarah asked. "Why would you do this for strangers?" Michael was quiet for a moment. He was thinking about his own life. He was thinking about being alone in his big house. He was thinking about his childhood when his family did not have much money. "When I was a kid, my family went through some hard times," Michael said. "There were people who helped us when we needed it. People who didn't have to help, but they did anyway. I guess I want to pass that kindness along." Sarah felt tears coming to her eyes. She wanted to say yes so badly. She wanted her children to sleep in real beds. She wanted them to be warm and safe. But she was scared. What if it doesn't work out? She asked. What if you change your mind? I won't change my mind, Michael said. But if you feel uncomfortable for any reason, you can leave any time you want. No questions asked. Baby Sophia started fussing in Sarah's arms. The baby was tired and needed a nap. Sarah realized that Sophia could take a real nap in a real bed. If she said yes to this offer. I don't know what to say, Sarah said. Say yes, Mama, Emma said. Please say yes. Yes, 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 Carlos said, clapping his hands. Sarah looked at her children's hopeful faces. They had been through so much. They deserved to be safe and comfortable. Maybe this stranger really was as kind as he seemed. Okay, Sarah said quietly. Okay, yes. Thank you, Michael smiled. Good, let's go home then. Home. Sarah liked the sound of that word. She had not had a real home in so long. Michael drove through the town toward his house. He lived in a quiet neighborhood with nice houses and big trees. The houses had front yards with grass and flowers. It was the kind of neighborhood where children could play outside safely. This is where you live? Emma asked, looking out the window. This is it, Michael said. It's pretty quiet. Good place for kids to play. They pulled into the driveway of a blue house with white trim. It was not a big house, but it looked comfortable and well kept. There was a front porch with chairs and a small garden with flowers. Michael turned off the truck and looked back at the family. Welcome home, he said. Sarah felt like she might cry again. She had not felt welcome anywhere in a long time. They got out of the truck and Michael helped carry the groceries and the leftover food from the diner. He unlocked the front door and held it open for them. Come on in, he said. Sarah walked into the house with baby Sophia in her arms. Emma and Carlos followed close behind her. The house was clean and comfortable. It had a living room with a couch and a television. It had a kitchen with a big table. It smelled like home. This is beautiful, Sarah said. It's not much, Michael said, but it's comfortable. Let me show you the bedrooms. He led them down a hallway to 2 bedrooms. The first bedroom had a double bed and a dresser. The second bedroom had 2 twin beds. Emma and Carlos can share this room, Michael said, and you and the baby can have the other room. There's a crib in the closet if you want to set it up for Sophia. Sarah looked at the beds with real sheets and real pillows. She had almost forgotten what it felt like to sleep in a real bed. The bathroom is right here, Michael said, opening another door. Clean towels are in the closet. Use whatever you need. Emma ran over to one of the twin beds and sat down on it. She bounced a little and smiled. It's so soft, Mama. Carlos sat on the other bed. This one is perfect for me. Michael watched the children enjoying the beds. It made him happy to see them excited about something so simple. Are you hungry? Michael asked. We have all those groceries. I could make some sandwiches. We just ate, Sarah said, but thank you. Well, the kitchen is yours to use any time you want, Michael said. Mi casa es su casa. That means my house is your house. Sarah felt overwhelmed by his kindness. Again, I don't know how to thank you. You don't need to thank me, Michael said. Just make yourselves at home. Rest. Let the kids play. Take a shower if you want. Do whatever you need to do. Sarah realized that she had not taken a real shower in 2 weeks. She had been washing up in public bathrooms. The thought of a hot shower sounded like heaven. Would it be okay if I took a shower? She asked. Of course, Michael said. Like I said, this is your home now. You don't need to ask permission for anything. Sarah went to get clean clothes from the car while Michael stayed with the children. When she came back, Emma and Carlos were showing Michael their few toys. He was sitting on the floor with them, listening to them talk about their stuffed animals. Sarah took baby Sophia with her to the bathroom. The bathroom was clean and had fluffy towels and nice soap. Sarah started the shower and let the hot water run over her. She felt like she was washing away weeks of worry and fear. When she came out of the shower, she felt like a new person. She put on clean clothes and combed her hair. She looked at herself in the mirror and saw a mother again, not just a homeless person. In the living room, Michael was reading a book to Emma and Carlos. They were sitting on either side of him on the couch. Baby Sophia was playing with some toys on the floor. Feel better? Michael asked when he saw Sarah. Much better, Sarah said. Thank you. The kids picked out this book, Michael said. It's about a family of bears. Sarah sat down in a chair and watched this kind man reading to her children. Emma was leaning against his arm. Carlos was pointing at pictures in the book. They looked comfortable with him already. For the first time in months, Sarah felt safe. For the first time in weeks, she felt hopeful. Maybe things were going to be okay. After all, that night, Sarah tucked her children into real beds with real sheets and real pillows. She kissed them good night and turned off the lights. Mama? Emma said in the dark. Yes, sweetheart? I like it here. Mr. Michael is nice. Yes, he is, Sarah said. Are we going to stay here for a while? Carlos asked. For a while, Sarah said. Until Mama finds a job and we can get our own place again? Good, Carlos said. I want to stay here with Mr. Michael. Sarah smiled in the dark. Her children felt safe too. That was the most important thing. In her own room, Sarah put baby Sophia in the crib that Michael had set up. The baby went to sleep right away. She was tired from the long day and comfortable in her new bed. Sarah lay down in the double bed and pulled the covers up to her chin. The sheets were soft and clean. The pillow was comfortable. The room was quiet and peaceful for the first time. In 2 weeks, Sarah went to sleep without worrying about where they would sleep the next night. Sarah woke up the next morning in a real bed. For a moment she forgot where she was. Then she remembered. She was in Michael's house. Her children were safe. They had slept in real beds all night. Sunlight was coming through the window. Sarah could hear birds singing outside. She could hear Michael moving around in the kitchen. She could smell coffee brewing. Baby Sophia was still sleeping in her crib. She looked peaceful and comfortable. Sarah got up quietly and looked at herself in the mirror. She looked better than she had in weeks. A good night's sleep had helped a lot. Sarah walked to the children's room and peeked inside. Emma and Carlos were still sleeping. They looked so peaceful. Emma was hugging her stuffed rabbit. Carlos was spread out across his whole bed like a starfish. Sarah smiled and closed the door quietly. She walked to the kitchen where Michael was making breakfast. Good morning, Michael said. Did you sleep well? Better than I have in a long time, Sarah said. Thank you. Coffee? Michael asked, holding up the pot. Please, Sarah said. She had not had good coffee in months. Michael poured her a cup and handed it to her. The coffee was hot and strong and delicious. The kids still sleeping? Michael asked. Yes, Sarah said. They were so tired. Let them sleep as long as they want, Michael said. They need the rest. Michael was making pancakes and bacon. The kitchen smelled wonderful. Sarah felt guilty that he was cooking for them. Again, you don't have to cook for us, Sarah said. I can make breakfast. I don't mind, Michael said. I like cooking when I have people to cook for. Usually I just eat cereal or toast. Sarah sat at the kitchen table and watched Michael cook. He moved around the kitchen like he knew what he was doing. He flipped pancakes and turned bacon. He seemed happy to be cooking for a family. How long have you lived alone? Sarah asked. About 2 years, Michael said. My wife and I got divorced. She moved to another state. We didn't have kids, so it's just been me since then. I'm sorry, Sarah said. It's okay, Michael said. Sometimes things don't work out the way you plan, but that doesn't mean life is over. You just find new ways to be happy. Sarah thought about that. Her life had not worked out the way she planned either. She had not planned to be a single mother with 3 children. She had not planned to lose her job and her home. But maybe Michael was right. Maybe there were new ways to be happy. Emma and Carlos woke up and came into the kitchen. They were wearing the same clothes from yesterday, but they looked rested and happy. Good morning, Mr. Michael, Emma said politely. Good morning, Emma, Michael said. Did you sleep well? Yes, sir, Emma said. The bed was really comfortable. Mine too, Carlos said. Can we have pancakes? Of course, Michael said. I made extra just for you. They all sat at the kitchen table and ate breakfast together. The children ate hungrily. Sarah ate slowly, savoring the good food and the feeling of safety. What do you usually do during the day? Sarah asked Michael. I go to work, Michael said. I'm building a new house across town. But I don't have to leave until 8 o'clock. Sarah looked at the clock. It was 7:30. Oh, we're making you late. No, you're not, Michael said. I usually just grab a coffee and a donut on my way to work. This is much better. After breakfast, Michael got ready for work. He put on his work boots and his hard hat. He packed a lunch in a cooler. I'll be back around 6 o'clock, he told Sarah. Make yourselves at home. Use anything you need. There's food in the refrigerator. The television has cable. There are some books and games in the living room. What if something happens? Sarah asked. What if there's an emergency? Michael wrote his phone number on a piece of paper. Call me if you need anything at all. Sarah took the paper. It felt strange to have someone to call if she needed help. She had been on her own for so long. Will you be okay today? Michael asked. Your ankle still hurts, right? Sarah had almost forgotten about her ankle. It still hurt, but not as much as yesterday. I'll be fine. The rest helped. Good, Michael said. Take it easy today. Let your ankle heal. After Michael left for work, Sarah and the children had the house to themselves. It felt strange to be in someone else's home without them there. But it also felt wonderful to have space and privacy. Sarah gave baby Sophia a bath in the real bathtub. Sophia loved the warm water and the bubbles. She splashed and laughed. Sarah had forgotten how much babies loved bath time. Emma and Carlos explored the house. They found books to read and games to play. They found a television with cartoons. They found a backyard with grass and trees. Mama, can we play outside? Emma asked as Sarah looked out the window. The backyard was fenced and safe. There were no other people around. Okay, she said, but stay in the yard. The children ran outside and played in the grass. They had not been able to run and play in weeks. Sarah watched them through the window. While she fed baby Sophia, Emma and Carlos found some old toys in a shed behind the house. There was a ball and some jump ropes and a frisbee. They played catch and ran around the yard. Sarah could see how happy they were. They were laughing and playing like normal children again. They were not worried about where they would sleep or what they would eat. Around lunchtime, Sarah made sandwiches with the food Michael had bought them. She called the children inside to eat. They sat at the kitchen table like a real family. I like it here, Carlos said. Me too, Emma said. Mr. Michael is really nice. Why did he let us stay here? Sarah thought about how to explain it. Some people are just kind, she said. Mr. Michael wanted to help us because he has a good heart. Are we going to stay here forever? Carlos asked. No, sweetheart, Sarah said. We'll stay here until Mama finds a job and saves some money. Then we'll get our own place again. But I want to stay here with Mr. Michael, Carlos said. We can't stay here forever, Sarah explained. This is Mr. Michael's house. We're just visiting for a while. But even as she said it, Sarah was starting to feel comfortable in this house. It was starting to feel like home. That afternoon, Sarah started looking for jobs online. Michael had a computer that he said she could use. She looked at job websites and filled out applications. She applied for jobs at restaurants and stores and offices. Her ankle was feeling better, so she would be able to work soon. She wanted to find a job as quickly as possible. She did not want to take advantage of Michael's kindness for too long. While Sarah looked for jobs, the children played quietly. Emma read books. Carlos played with his toy cars. Baby Sophia took a nap in her crib. Sarah found 3 jobs that looked promising. 2 were at restaurants and 1 was at a store. She filled out applications for all of them. She hoped that someone would call her for an interview soon. Around 4 o'clock, Sarah decided to start making dinner. She wanted to cook for Michael as a way to say thank you. She looked through the refrigerator and the cabinets to see what she could make. She found chicken and vegetables and rice. She could make a nice dinner with those ingredients. She had always been a good cook. It felt good to cook in a real kitchen again. Sarah started preparing the food. She seasoned the chicken and chopped the vegetables. The children helped by setting the table and filling glasses with water. At 6 o'clock, they heard Michael's truck in the driveway. The children ran to the window to watch him come home. "Mr. Michael's home!" Carlos shouted. Michael came through the front door and smelled the food cooking. "Something smells really good in here," he said. "Mama made dinner," Emma said proudly. Michael looked surprised. "You didn't have to do that. I wanted to," Sarah said. "It's the least I can do." "Well, it smells amazing," Michael said. "Let me wash up and I'll be right back." Michael went to his room to change out of his work clothes. When he came back, he was wearing clean jeans and a t-shirt. He looked tired but happy. They all sat down at the kitchen table for dinner. The chicken was tender and juicy. The vegetables were perfectly cooked. The rice was fluffy and flavorful. "This is delicious," Michael said. "You're a really good cook." "Thank you," Sarah said. "I used to cook all the time before things got difficult." "Well, you haven't lost your touch," Michael said. The children told Michael about their day. They told him about playing in the backyard and watching cartoons and helping their mother cook. "Did you have a good day?" Michael asked. Yes, Sarah said. "I applied for some jobs online. Hopefully someone will call me soon." "I'm sure they will," Michael said. "What kind of jobs did you apply for?" Sarah told him about the restaurant and store jobs. Michael listened and asked questions. He seemed genuinely interested in helping her find work. "I know the manager at one of those restaurants," Michael said. "I could put in a good word for you if you want." "Would you really?" Sarah asked. "Of course," Michael said. "Joe's a good guy. I've done some work on his restaurant. If I tell him you're reliable and hardworking, he'll listen." Sarah felt hopeful. Having someone recommend her would make a big difference. "Thank you, that would help a lot." After dinner, they all cleaned up the kitchen together. Michael washed dishes while Sarah dried them. The children put away the clean dishes. It felt like they were a family working together. It felt natural and comfortable. That evening, they all sat in the living room together. Michael read stories to the children. Sarah rocked baby Sophia to sleep. They watched a movie on television. 3 days later, Sarah got a phone call. It was from the restaurant where Michael knew the manager. They wanted her to come in for an interview that afternoon. Sarah was so excited she almost dropped the phone. "Yes," she said. "Yes, I can come." "And today, what time?" The manager, Joe, told her to come at 2 o'clock. Sarah looked at the clock. It was 10 in the morning. She had 4 hours to get ready. "Emma, Carlos," Sarah called. "I got an interview." The children came running into the kitchen. "What's an interview?" Carlos asked. "It's when someone talks to me about giving me a job," Sarah explained. "If it goes well, I might get to work at a restaurant." "That's great, Mama," Emma said. She was old enough to understand how important this was. Sarah felt nervous and excited at the same time. She had not been on a job interview in over a year. She wanted to do well. She wanted to get this job, but then she realized a problem. "Oh, no," she said. "I can't take you kids with me to the interview, and baby Sophia can't come either." Sarah had been alone with her children for so long. She had no one to watch them when she needed help. She started to worry that she would have to cancel the interview. "Maybe I should call and ask if I can bring the children," Sarah said. "No," Emma said. "You can't bring kids to a job interview. That's not how it works." Emma was right. Sarah knew that bringing children to an interview would not look professional. But she did not have anyone to watch them. Then Sarah had an idea. Maybe she could ask Michael. He had been so kind to them. Maybe he would help with this too. Sarah called Michael at work. "Hi, it's Sarah. I'm sorry to bother you at work." "You're not bothering me," Michael said. "What's up?" Sarah told him about the interview. "I know it's a lot to ask," she said. "But would it be possible for you to watch the children this afternoon? Just for an hour or two." "Of course," Michael said immediately. "What time do you need me there?" "The interview is at 2 o'clock, Sarah said. "I should leave around 1:30. "I'll be there at 1:15, Michael said. "Don't worry about anything. The kids and I will be fine." Sarah felt so relieved. "Thank you so much." I don't know what I would do without your help. You're going to do great at this interview, Michael said. Joe's a good guy. Just be yourself. After Sarah hung up the phone, she started getting ready. She washed her hair and picked out her best clothes. She practiced what she would say in the interview. Emma helped her choose which shoes to wear. Carlos found her a nice shirt. Even baby Sophia seemed to understand that something important was happening. At 1:15, Michael came home from work early. He had told his boss that he had a family emergency. His boss was understanding and let him leave. How are you feeling? Michael asked Sarah. Nervous, Sarah said honestly, but excited too. You're going to do great, Michael said. You're smart and hardworking. Any restaurant would be lucky to have you. Sarah looked at herself in the mirror one more time. She looked professional and confident. She looked like someone who deserved a job. Wish me luck, Sarah said to her children. Good luck, Mama. Emma and Carlos said together. Sarah kissed baby Sophia goodbye and hugged her older children. Then she drove Michael's truck to the restaurant. Michael had insisted that she borrow it for the interview. The restaurant was called Tony's Family Restaurant. It was a nice place with checkered tablecloths and pictures of Italy on the walls. Sarah had eaten at places like this before, but she had never worked at one. Sarah walked inside and told the hostess that she was there for an interview with Joe. The hostess smiled and led her to a small office in the back. Joe was a friendly man in his 50s. He had gray hair and kind eyes. He shook Sarah's hand and invited her to sit down. Michael Thompson told me good things about you, Joe said. He says you're reliable and hardworking. Michael has been very kind to my family, Sarah said. I would work very hard for you if you gave me a chance. Joe asked Sarah about her experience. She told him about working at the restaurant that had closed down. She told him about taking care of customers and handling money and working as part of a team. Why did you leave your last job? Joe asked. I didn't leave, Sarah said honestly. The restaurant closed down. The owner couldn't afford to keep it open anymore. Joe nodded. He understood that sometimes people lost jobs through no fault of their own. Tell me about yourself, Joe said. What are you looking for in a job? Sarah thought carefully about her answer. I'm looking for a chance to provide for my children, she said. I'm a single mother with 3 kids. I need steady work with steady pay. I want to be part of a team that cares about doing good work. How many children do you have? Joe asked. 3, Sarah said. Emma is 8, Carlos is 6, and Sophia is 10 months old. That's a lot of responsibility, Joe said. Double quotes. Yes, it is, Sarah agreed. But my children motivate me to work hard. I want to give them a good life. Joe asked more questions about Sarah's availability and her skills. Sarah answered honestly. She told him she could work any shift except late nights because she needed to be home with her children. We mostly need daytime servers, Joe said. Lunch shift and early dinner shift. Would that work for you? That would be perfect, Sarah said. Joe explained the job. Sarah would be a waitress, taking orders and serving food. She would work with a team of other servers and kitchen staff. The pay was decent, and there were tips on top of the hourly wage. When could you start? Joe asked. Tomorrow if you need. Me, Sarah said. I'm ready to work. Joe smiled. I like that attitude. Michael was right about you. Joe offered Sarah the job right there in the interview. She would start as a part-time server working 4 days a week. If she did well there, might be opportunities for more hours later. Sarah felt like crying with happiness. Thank you so much, she said. You won't regret this. I don't think I will, Joe said. Welcome to Tony's Family Restaurant. Sarah shook Joe's hand and thanked him again. She would start work on Monday. That gave her the weekend to get ready and arrange childcare for when she was working. Sarah drove back to Michael's house with a huge smile on her face. She had a job. She had steady income. She could start providing for her children again. When she walked through the front door, Michael and the children were playing a board game in the living room. They all looked up when she came in. How did it go? Michael asked. I got the job, Sarah announced. Yay! Emma and Carlos cheered. They jumped up and hugged their mother. Michael smiled widely. Congratulations, I knew you would get it. Thank you for helping me, Sarah said to Michael. Thank you for watching the kids and for putting in a good word with Joe. I couldn't have done this without you. You did this yourself? Michael said. I just made a phone call. You're the one who impressed Joe enough to get hired. That evening they celebrated Sarah's new job with a special dinner. Michael grilled hamburgers in the backyard while Sarah made potato salad. The children played in the yard while the adults cooked. When do you start? Michael asked. Monday, Sarah said. I'll be working lunch shifts 4 days a week to start. That's great, Michael said. Perfect hours for someone with kids. Sarah started thinking about the practical details. I'll need to figure out childcare for when I'm working, she said. Maybe I can find a babysitter in the neighborhood. What about preschool for Carlos? Michael suggested. He's old enough, and it would be good for him to be around other kids. Sarah had thought about preschool before, but it cost money. Now that she would have a job, maybe she could afford it. That's a good idea, Sarah said. And maybe Emma could go to the after-school program at her school. I could help with Sophia during the day if you need me to, Michael offered. My work schedule is flexible. I could come home for lunch and check on her. Sarah looked at Michael in surprise. You would do that? Of course, Michael said. We're a team now. We help each other. Sarah felt overwhelmed by his kindness again. This man kept finding new ways to help her family. She wondered what she had done to deserve such generosity. Over the weekend, Sarah and Michael worked together to get everything organized. They found a good preschool for Carlos that had an opening. They signed Emma up for the after-school program at her school. They arranged for a neighbor lady to watch baby Sophia during the hours when Michael couldn't be home. By Sunday night, everything was set up. Sarah would start her new job on Monday morning. The children would all be taken care of while she was working. I'm nervous, Sarah admitted to Michael as they sat on the front porch after the children went to bed. That's normal, Michael said. Starting a new job is always a little scary, but you're going to do great. What if I mess up? Sarah asked. What if I can't do the job well? You will do well, Michael said confidently. You're smart and you work hard. Those are the most important things. Sarah thought about how much her life had changed in just 1 week. 7 days ago, she had been homeless and hopeless. Now she had a safe place to live, food to eat, and a job to go to. I don't know how to thank you, Sarah said to Michael. You've changed our whole lives. You don't need to thank me, Michael sighed. Helping your family has been good for me too. This house feels like a home again. Sarah looked at Michael. She was starting to understand that helping them had helped him too. He had been lonely in his big house. Having a family around had made him happier. Are you sure you don't mind us staying here a while longer? 3 months had passed since Sarah started working at Tony's family restaurant. She had become one of the best servers there. The customers liked her friendly smile and quick service. Joe was so impressed that he gave her more hours and a small raise. Sarah had been saving every penny she could. After paying for childcare and helping with groceries, she had managed to save almost $2,000. It was enough for a security deposit and first month's rent on a small apartment. The children had settled into a good routine. Carlos loved his preschool and had made several friends. Emma was doing well in school and enjoyed the after-school program. Baby Sophia was walking now and saying her first words. Everything seemed perfect. But Sarah knew it was time to start looking for their own place. She had always planned to move out once she got back on her feet. She did not want to take advantage of Michael's kindness forever. One evening after dinner, Sarah brought up the subject. The children were playing in the living room while she and Michael cleaned up the kitchen. Michael, Sarah said carefully, I think it's time for us to start looking for our own apartment. Michael stopped drying the dish he was holding. Are you sure? He asked. You don't have to rush, I know, Sarah said. But I've saved enough money for a security deposit. I have a steady job. I think we're ready to be independent again, Michael nodded slowly. He had known this day would come. He had always known that Sarah and her children would not stay forever. But knowing it and being ready for it were two different things. Have you looked at any places yet? Michael asked. I've been checking the newspaper, Sarah said. There are a few apartments. That might work. I want to look at them this weekend if that's okay. Of course, Michael said. Do you want me to come with you? I know about construction and repairs. I could help you check if the places are in good condition, Sarah smiled. Even when she was moving out, Michael was still trying to help her. That would be great, she said. Thank you. Over the weekend, Sarah and Michael looked at 3 different apartments. The first one was too expensive. The second one was in a bad neighborhood. The third one was perfect. It was a small 2-bedroom apartment in a safe neighborhood. Emma and Carlos could share 1 bedroom, and Sarah could have the other bedroom with baby Sophia. There was a small kitchen and a living room. It was not fancy, but it was clean and affordable. This is nice, Michael said as they walked through the apartment. Good location, good schools nearby. Sarah could picture her family living there. It would be tight with 4 people in 2 bedrooms, but it would be theirs. They would have their own space again. I think this is the one, Sarah told the landlord. When could we move in? 1st of next month, the landlord said. I'll need first month's rent, last month's rent, and a security deposit. Sarah did the math in her head. It would take almost all of her savings, but she could afford it. Okay, she said, I'll take it. They filled out the paperwork and Sarah wrote a check for the deposits. She would officially have her own place again in 2 weeks. As they drove back to Michael's house, Sarah felt excited and nervous at the same time. She was happy to have her own place, but she was also sad to leave Michael's house. It had become home to them. How are you feeling? Michael asked. Good, Sarah said. Excited. A little scared. That's normal, Michael said. Big changes are always a little scary. That evening, Sarah told the children about the new apartment. Emma and Carlos had mixed reactions. Our own place? Emma said. That's good, right? Yes, sweetheart, Sarah said. It means we can take care of ourselves again. But what about Mr. Michael? Carlos asked. Is he coming with us? Sarah's heart broke a little. Carlos had gotten very attached to Michael. The little boy thought of Michael as part of their family. No, honey, Sarah said gently. Mr. Michael will stay in his house. This is his home. Carlos's face fell. But I want to stay with Mr. Michael. I don't want to move. Sarah knelt down next to Carlos. I know you love Mr. Michael. He loves you too. But we can't live in his house forever. We need to have our own home. Can we visit him? Emma asked. Of course, Sarah said. We'll visit him all the time, and he can visit us too. But even as Sarah said it, she wondered if it would be true. Once they moved out, would they really stay close? Or would they gradually drift apart? Sarah hoped it would not happen, but she had seen it before. Michael heard the conversation from the kitchen. He felt sad too. Over the past 3 months, he had grown to love Sarah's children like they were his own. He had enjoyed having a family in his house. He had enjoyed the noise and laughter and chaos that came with children. Now his house would be quiet again. He would eat dinner alone again. He would come home to an empty house again, but Michael knew that Sarah was making the right decision. She needed to be independent. She needed to provide for her own family. It was important for her self-respect and her children's future over the next 2 weeks. Sarah and Michael started preparing for the move. They bought furniture for the new apartment. They packed up the children's toys and clothes. They made lists of everything that needed to be done. The children's mood about moving changed from day to day. Sometimes they were excited about having their own place. Sometimes they were sad about leaving Michael. Will you still read us stories? Carlos asked Michael one evening. Whenever you want me to, Michael promised. You can call me anytime. Can we have sleepovers at your house? Emma asked. If your mom says it's okay, Michael said. Sarah watched Michael promise to stay in their lives. She could see how much he cared about her children. She could see how much they meant to him. The night before moving day, Sarah barely slept. She lay in bed thinking about everything that had happened over the past 3 months. Michael had saved their lives. He had given them hope when they had none. He had helped them get back on their feet. Tomorrow, they would leave his house and start over again. Sarah was grateful for the chance to be independent, but she was also scared. What if something went wrong? What if she could not handle everything on her own? Moving day arrived with gray clouds and light rain. Michael had taken the day off work to help them move. He rented a small truck to carry their belongings to the new apartment. Sarah did not have much stuff. 3 months ago, she had lost almost everything. The furniture in the apartment came with the rental. All she really had to move were clothes, toys, and a few personal items. As they loaded boxes into the truck, the children were quiet. Even baby Sophia seemed to sense that something big was happening. She stayed close to her mother and watched everything with serious eyes. "This is it," Sarah said as they loaded the last box. Michael looked at the house that had been home to Sarah's family for 3 months. The bedrooms looked empty without the children's things. The kitchen table looked too big without 4 people sitting around it. "Ready?" Michael asked. "Ready," Sarah said. Though she did not feel ready at all. They drove to the new apartment in a small caravan. Michael drove the truck with the boxes. Sarah drove her old car with the children. The car had been sitting in Michael's driveway for months, but it still ran okay. The new apartment looked smaller than Sarah remembered. With all 4 of them in the space, it felt crowded. But it was clean and safe, and it was theirs. Michael helped carry boxes up the stairs to the second-floor apartment. Emma and Carlos ran around exploring their new home. They checked out every room and every closet. "This is our room," Emma told Carlos, showing him the bedroom they would share. "Where will Mr. Michael sleep when he visits?" Carlos asked. "Mr. Michael will sleep at his own house," Sarah explained again. "But he can visit us during the day." By afternoon, they had everything unpacked. The apartment was starting to look like home. Sarah had bought some groceries and made lunch for everyone. As evening approached, Sarah realized that Michael would be leaving soon. He would go back to his house, and they would stay in their apartment. For the first time in 3 months, they would be apart. "I should probably head home," Michael said around 6 o'clock. Sarah felt panic rise in her chest. She was not ready for him to leave. She was not ready to be alone with the children in a new place. "You could stay for dinner," Sarah said quickly. "I'm making spaghetti. Are you sure?" Michael asked. "Please stay," Emma said. "We made garlic bread." "Please, Mr. Michael," Carlos added. Michael looked at their hopeful faces. He did not want to leave either. "Okay," he said. "I'll stay for dinner." They ate dinner together at Sarah's small kitchen table. It felt different than eating at Michael's house, but it still felt like family. After dinner, Michael read one more story to the children. He tucked them into their new beds and kissed them good night. "Will you come see us tomorrow?" Carlos asked. "Maybe not tomorrow," Michael said gently. "You need time to get used to your new home, but I'll see you soon." Sarah walked Michael to the door. They stood there for a moment, not knowing what to say. "Thank you," Sarah said finally. "For everything. I don't know how to tell you what you've meant to us." "You don't have to," Michael said. "Taking care of your family has been one of the best things I've ever done." "Will we really stay in touch?" Sarah asked. "Or will we just say we will, and then drift apart?" Michael looked at her seriously. "Sarah, you and your children have—" 2 weeks passed since Sarah and her children moved to their new apartment. Sarah went to work every day and took care of her family every night. The children were adjusting to their new home, but something felt missing. Michael had called twice to check on them. Both conversations were polite but felt awkward. Sarah could tell that he was trying to give them space to adjust, but she missed talking to him every day. The children asked about Michael constantly. When would they see him? Could they call him? Could they visit his house? Sarah kept promising that they would see him soon, but she did not know when or how. On Saturday morning, Sarah was doing laundry when someone knocked on her door. She looked through the peephole and saw Michael standing in the hallway. Sarah opened the door quickly. "Michael, what are you doing here?" "I hope it's okay that I came by," Michael said. "I was in the neighborhood and thought I'd see how you're all doing." "Of course it's okay," Sarah said. Come in. The children heard Michael's voice and came. Running, Carlos threw himself into Michael's arms. Emma hugged him around the waist. Even baby Sophia toddled over and reached up to be picked up. "Mr. Michael," Carlos shouted, "you came to see us." "I missed you guys," Michael said. Hugging all three children at once, Sarah watched the reunion and felt her heart fill up. She had. Missed Michael too, more than she wanted to admit? "How are you settling in?" Michael asked, looking around the apartment. "Good," Sarah said. "It's taking some time to adjust, but we're managing." But Michael could see that Sarah looked tired. He could see that the children seemed a little sad despite their excitement at seeing him. "Are you hungry?" Sarah asked. "I was just about to make lunch." "I don't want to impose," Michael said. "You're not imposing," Sarah said. "We'd love to have you stay." They made lunch together in Sarah's small kitchen. It felt natural and comfortable, like they had done it 100 times before. The children chattered happily, telling Michael about their new school and their new friends after lunch. Michael helped Carlos build a puzzle while Sarah and Emma baked cookies. Baby Sophia played with blocks on the floor, occasionally babbling at Michael as the afternoon went on. Sarah realized how much she had missed this. She had missed having another adult to talk to. She had missed sharing the responsibility of caring. For the children, she had missed feeling like part of a family. "How are you doing, really?" Michael asked Sarah when the children were busy playing. Sarah thought about how to answer. "It's harder than I expected," she admitted. "Not financially, I can handle the money part. But being alone with 3 kids all the time is exhausting," Michael nodded. "And how are the kids adjusting?" "They ask about you every day," Sarah said. "Carlos cried himself to sleep the first 3 nights because he missed you so much." Michael felt a pang in his chest. "I've missed them too. I've missed all of you." "Really?" Sarah asked. "My house feels so empty now," Michael said. "I got used to having a family around. I got used to feeling needed and important." Sarah looked at Michael carefully. She was starting to understand something important. "You know what I realized?" she said. "What?" "I moved out because I thought I needed to be independent. But maybe independence doesn't mean doing everything alone. Maybe it means being able to choose who you want in your life." Michael looked at her with interest. "What do you mean?" "I mean, maybe the problem isn't that I was dependent on you. Maybe the problem is that I never asked you what you wanted. I just assumed that you wanted us to leave eventually." Michael was quiet for a moment. "What are you saying?" Sarah took a deep breath. "I'm saying that if you want to be part of our family permanently, I'd like that too. Not as charity or as a favor, but as a real choice that we both make." Michael stared at her. "Are you serious?" "The children love you," Sarah said. "You love them. I care about you a lot too." "We were all happier when we were together." "But what about your independence?" Michael asked. "I have a job," Sarah said. "I can pay my own bills. I can take care of my children. That's independence. But choosing to share my life with someone who cares about us, that's just smart." Michael felt his heart racing. "What exactly?" "Are you asking?" Sarah smiled nervously. "I'm asking if you want to be a family with us. For real, not temporarily, not as a favor, but permanently." Before Michael could answer, Carlos came running over. "Mr. Michael, are you going to leave again?" Michael looked down at the little boy who had become like a son to him. "What would you think if I didn't leave? What if I stayed and we were a family?" Carlos's eyes got huge. "Forever?" "If that's what everyone wants," Michael said. "Yes," Carlos shouted. "I want that." Emma came over too. "What are you talking about?" "Mr. Michael might become part of our family permanently," Sarah explained. Emma thought about this seriously. She was old enough to understand what this meant. Like he would be our dad? Michael knelt down to Emma's level. "I would never try to replace your father," he said gently. "But I would love to be like a dad to you, if you'd like that." Emma looked at her mother, then back at Michael. "I would like that," she said quietly. Baby Sophia toddled over and reached up to Michael. "Up," she said clearly. Michael picked her up and Sophia snuggled against his chest. "Da," she said. Everyone went quiet. Sophia had never said that word before. But somehow, she knew that Michael was the closest thing to a daddy that she had ever had. Michael felt tears in his eyes. Did she just— I think she did, Sarah said, crying a little too. Michael looked at Sarah. Are you sure about this? Are you sure you want this? I've never been more sure of anything, Sarah said. The question is, are you sure? Michael looked around at this family that had come into his life by accident. 3 months ago, he had been a lonely man eating dinner alone every night. Now he had 3 children who loved him and a woman who had become his best friend. Yes, Michael said. I'm sure. I love all of you. I want to be your family. Carlos jumped up and down. We're going to be a real family. Emma hugged Michael around the neck. Does this mean we can move back to your house? Sarah and Michael looked at each other and laughed. We'll figure out the details, Sarah said. But yes, I think we can work something out. Over the next few weeks, Sarah and Michael figured out how to blend their lives together officially. Sarah kept her apartment for a while as a backup plan. But she and the children spent most of their time at Michael's house. They talked about marriage, but decided to take things slowly. They wanted to make sure the children were comfortable with all the changes first. Michael legally adopted the children 6 months later. Emma, Carlos, and Sofia officially became his children, and he became their father. The court hearing was simple, but it was the most important day of all their lives. A year later, Sarah and Michael got married in a small ceremony in the backyard of their house. Emma was the maid of honor, Carlos was the ring bearer, and Sofia threw flower petals. Everywhere, the house that had once been too quiet and too empty was now full of laughter and noise and love. Michael came home from work every day to children who ran to greet him. Sarah cooked dinner for a family who appreciated every meal. The neighbors often commented on how happy the family seemed. They would see Michael teaching Carlos to throw a baseball. They would see Sarah and Emma working in the garden together. They would see all 5 of them going for walks with Sofia riding on Michael's shoulders. How did you know? Sarah's friend from work asked her one day. How did you know that Michael was the right person for your family? Sarah thought about the question. I didn't know at first, she said. But I learned that sometimes the best things in life come from unexpected places. Sometimes a stranger in a parking lot can change your whole world. Michael often thought about that day in the grocery store parking lot. If he had walked to his truck a different way, he might never have seen Sarah and her children. If he had minded his own business, he might still be eating dinner alone every night, but he had chosen to help. He had chosen to care. And that choice had led to the greatest happiness of his life. The children grew up knowing that they were loved and wanted. They grew up knowing that families can be created by choice, not just by blood. They grew up knowing that sometimes angels come disguised as construction workers in grocery store parking lots. Emma became a teacher and spent her career helping children in need. Carlos became a social worker and helped homeless families find housing. Sofia became a nurse and cared for people who had no one else to care for them. All 3 children carried on the lesson that Michael had taught them. When you see people who need help, you help them. When you have the power to make someone's life better, you use that power, and Michael and Sarah grew old together, surrounded by children and grandchildren who filled their house with the same love and laughter that had started with $7.38 in a grocery store parking lot. Their story became a legend in their small town. People would tell it to their children and grandchildren. They would tell it as proof that kindness matters. They would tell it as proof that one person can make a difference, but to Michael and Sarah and their children, it was not a legend. It was just their life. A beautiful, ordinary, extraordinary life that started when a stranger said 4 simple words. You're coming with me.